Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to say thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala because we are given also that we can attend today's seminar, and also thanks to Prof. Dr. Syafrizal as a lecturer who has guided us for one semester in the seminar on ELT course. So on this occasion, there will be four presenters to present the 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 result of research paper. So to shorten the time, let's start from the first presenter. For the first presenter, screen and time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Satya Latifati Arka, and here I want to present my mini research. Title is Modern Approach to Communicative Language Teaching in English Classes in Junior High School. Next. Next slide. The first is the background of the study. A method of teaching languages known as communicative language teaching focuses heavily on engagement and communication as the primary goals of language learning. The skill development of learners' communicative skill, which includes their capacity to use language successfully and responsible in a range of social and cultural contexts, is the main focus of the course. The research will likely examine the background, tenets, and distinguishing characteristic of CLT and how this relates to the instruction of English as a foreign language in junior high schools. The usefulness of CLT in improving students' language learning outcomes may also be explored, as well as the difficulties teachers may have in putting the strategy into practice. Next. And the purpose of the study, the study's goal is to look into and assess the efficiency of a contemporary method to communicative language teaching or CLT in junior high school English classes. The research may examine how this style of language instruction differs from more conventional ones and how it can better include students in communicative activities to advance their language skills. The study may look at how the contemporary method affects students' motivation, language learning techniques, and overall English communicative proficiency. The study intends to offer teachers and educators new perspective and suggestions for improving language instruction in junior high school classes. Next. For the research question, the first is, how does a cutting-edge strategy for teaching communicative language impact the English language proficiency of junior high school students? And the second, what are the key components of a modern communicative language teaching approach that are most effective in enhancing English language acquisition in junior high school students? And for the last, what are the challenges that teachers face in implementing a modern communicative language teaching approach in junior high school English classes, and how can these challenges be addressed? Next. And then literature review. Communicative language teaching, according to Regenbach and Lazarton, 1991, CLT incorporates actual group interaction, including negotiation and interaction. Additionally, it promotes and encourages students to use their general knowledge and linguistic skills to real-world problems, including communication, negotiation, persuasion, decision-making, and etc. Through actual and similar to actual practice, learners develop their English proficiency and get the confidence to speak in the language. And then for the characteristic, Nuna 1991 lists the following 5 CLT characteristics. For the first, emphasizing communication skills in the intent tongue, and then including real words in educational exercise, and giving students the chance to improve both their language and learning skills, and then promoting the use of personal experience as a crucial component in class activities, and the last, making an effort to link assignment from the classroom to extracurricular activities. Next. Next slide. And then the implement of CLT in the classroom. To implement CLT in the classroom, a communicative setting that encourages engagement and communication must be created. Teachers can accomplish this by utilizing the variety of methods and exercises, including working in pairs or small groups, and then role playing, based learning, and then games. Next. For the methodology, the first research method for this study, a qualitative research design was used. Data were gathered by observing and interviewing English language instructor or teachers who implemented a contemporary CLT strategy in their junior high school English courses. And for the participants, junior high school students from a school district of choice will participate in the study, and the respondents taken in this study were one class of junior high school students consisting of 20 students. And the impact of the CLT exercise in encouraging active involvement and communication among the students was assessed through classroom observation. And for data collection, observation in the classroom, and interviews with teachers, and data analysis, descriptive statistic will be used to examine the survey result in order to understand how the students felt about the two methods. Next. For the result and findings, in the previous 50 years, concepts regarding syllabus design and methodology have undergone modification to language instruction, and CLT has put reconsideration of methods for designing implementing syllabi. The three passes that have characterized teaching trends for languages during the 50 years are as follow. For the first, pass 1, conventional methods before until the later 1960s. Previous slide, please. And the second, teaching traditional communicative languages during past 1970s to 1990s, and past 3, present day instruction in communicative language from the late 1990s to now. And the result implied that contemporary CLT strategy can help students become more proficient communicators in English. According to the teachers, this strategy helped to foster a communication classroom climate where students were encouraged to converse and interact in English. They add that method assisted children in developing their linguistic abilities in a more organic and meaningful manner. Next. And the discussion, students in junior high school are at a crucial point in their language development because they are laying the groundwork for future language acquisition. Therefore, using a contemporary method can aid in fostering their language competency and giving them abilities they need to properly communicate in a global environment. It is crucial to take into account how technology affects language education in the study. Teachers can use technology improve their pupils' language acquisition because digital gadgets are one. Some modern approach in CLT, the teacher can be used for the first information gap exercise and then jigsaw puzzles. And the last are the CLT activity kinds like puzzles, game, reading maps, classroom assignments, student-led survey, interviews. Next. And for the conclusion, CLT is a cutting-edge method of language instruction that places a focused interaction and communication in language learning. In junior high school, English lessons where students must build their communicative competence in meaningful way. This method is very pertinent. A student-centered strategy emphasis on a communicative environment that encourages engagement and communication is necessary for implementing CLT in the classroom. To do that, teachers might employ a variety of strategies and exercises such as role-playing, knowledge gap activities, project-based learning, games, and pair and group work. Next. Okay, thank you very much. That's all for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to moderator.
Okay, thank you Satyana Latifa as the first speaker. So next to the second speaker, Marcel. Time is yours.
All right, thank you for moderator. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon all. Today I would like to present my mini paper due to the final exam of seminar on English language teaching with the title of English language teaching through communicative approach in senior high school. My name is Marcel Agustino Verdo. My student number is 222320057. Next. The first one, purpose of the study on English language teaching through the communicative approach in Indonesian senior high schools aims to analyze and assess the effectiveness and effects of implementing the communicative approach in English language classrooms. Next. Introduction. English is one of great importance as the global language of communication, commerce, and science. Communicating in second language today involves various characteristics of language, social, cultural, and pragmatic aspects of language. Brown, 2007. High schools in Indonesia play a significant role in preparing students for future academic and professional endeavors by providing them with English competence. Teaching English is critical in equipping students with the skills they need to navigate a globalized society and advance their academic and professional prospects. The traditional grammar-based approach to English instruction is gradually giving way to a communicative method that focuses on developing students' capacity to utilize English in real-life communicative contexts. It looks at how a communicative approach is implemented in secondary schools and how it affects students' language and communication skill. Communicative language teaching has a significant impact on the teaching of second and foreign languages. Next. I have three research questions here. There are, what is the status of communicative techniques in Indonesian high school English classrooms? What are the difficulties and the advantages of using communicative approach? The third one, what recommendations may be made to increase the incorporation of communicative techniques in Indonesian high school English education? Next. Literature review. First, the communicative approach in language teaching. The communicative method to language teaching arose in the 1970s as a response to the constraints of traditional grammar-based technique. Belief about learning and communication strategies have been found to influence these learners' language learning success. These beliefs influence learner preference, choices of strategies for practicing English, the development of communication competence, which refers to the ability to use language effectively and appropriately in real-life communicative situation, is emphasized. The second one, implementation of the communicative approach in senior high school. In order to implement a communicative strategy in secondary school, a transition from traditional teacher-centered education to learner-centered communicative activities is required. Teachers should create a welcoming learning atmosphere that encourages active involvement, cooperation, and meaningful interaction between students. Next. Methodology. The benefits of the communicative approach. A communicative method has numerous benefits for English learners, improve student communication abilities, language skill development, learner autonomy and motivation, and preparation for real-world communication in an English-speaking environment. Challenges in implementing the communicative approach. Implementing a communicative approach in high school presents several challenges. This includes limited resources such as textbooks and audiovisual materials, large class sizes, inadequate teacher training, and pressure to focus on exam-oriented teaching. Significance of the study. The study is significant because it provides insight into the present implementation of communication tactics in Indonesian secondary school. It emphasizes the benefits and obstacles that teachers and students experience, as well as recommendation for strengthening the incorporation of communicative approaches into high school English instruction. The finding of the study can advise policymakers, school administrators, and English teachers on the necessity of using effective techniques to improve secondary school English teaching practices. Next. Methodology. Research design. The study uses qualitative data collection method, classroom observation, provide qualitative data on classroom practices and student engagement. Participants in the study are English teacher and high school students from various schools in Indonesia. A representative sample is selected to ensure diverse perspective and experiences. Data collection method. We conduct surveys of English teachers to gather data on teaching methods, materials used, and assignments. Teaching observations are conducted to observe teaching strategies, student interactions, and level of engagement. Interviews are conducted with teachers and students to gain a deeper understanding of their experiences and perceptions. Data analysis. The collected data are analyzed using qualitative analytical techniques. Survey data is analyzed using descriptive statistics to identify patterns and trends. Qualitative data from observation and interviews are transcribed, coded, and thematically analyzed to identify recurring themes and provide comprehensive explanation. Next. Results and finding. A. Current status of the communicative approach in senior high school. The results indicate that the implementation of communicative approach is moderately common in Indonesian English-speaking high school classrooms. Some teachers incorporate communicative activities while others still rely on traditional methods. B. Benefits of the communicative approach. Adopting a communicative approach to language teaching has many benefits for learners. These benefits go beyond language skill development and encompass different aspects of language learning and communication skills. C. Challenges in implementing the communicative approach. Several challenges prevent effective implementation of the communication approach. Limited resources such as textbooks, audiovisual materials, and technology limit ability of teachers to plan and conduct communication activities. Large classes make it difficult to provide individual attention and foster meaningful interaction. Next. Discussion. A. Integration of the communicative approach into the English language curriculum. To integrate a communicative approach into the English curriculum objective, teaching strategies, and assessment procedures must be aligned with the principle and goals of the approach. B. Teacher training and professional development. Investing in a comprehensive teacher education program is essential to providing teacher with the knowledge, skills, and confidence they need to effectively practice a communicative approach. Professional development opportunities such as workshops, seminars, and collaboration with peers should be provided to support teacher development and the implementation of innovative educational strategies. Next. Resources and materials. Efforts should be made to provide English teacher with appropriate resources and materials that are consistent with the principles of the communicative approach. Access to up-to-date textbooks and audiovisual materials, online resource, and technology can improve the quality of communicative language teaching and learning. D. Overcoming challenges for effective implementation. Addressing the challenge associated with large classes can be achieved through strategies such as grouping students, creating task-based activities, and incorporating technology for interactive learning experience. Additionally, collaboration among teachers, sharing best practices, and creating supportive professional learning communication communities can help address challenges and foster more effective implementation of communication approach. Next. Conclusion. The study investigated the previous slide, please. The study investigated the implementation of a communicative approach in English education in secondary school in Indonesia. The result highlight the advantage of the approach in promoting language proficiency, student engagement, and motivation. However, challenges related to limited resources, large class sizes, and teacher training prevent optimal implementation. Recommendations were made for policymakers, school administrators, and English teachers to improve the integration of communication approach. By implementing this recommendation, high school in Indonesia can create a more communicative and interactive learning environment that prepares students for real-world communication in English. Next. I thank you. That's all from me. And I have a quote: an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Benjamin Franklin. Thank you for.
Okay, thank you, Marcel. Okay, the next presenters is me. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dela Yunita. I would like to present my research paper. The title is Online and Face-to-Face Classes Comparative Analysis. Okay. The table of content, there are abstract, introduction, literature review, methods, result and discussion, and then the last one is conclusion. Next slide. Okay, so the development of technology along with the changing time is very influential in all aspects of life, especially in the aspect of education. Nowadays, everyone is familiar with online classes or classes that are conducted remotely. This online class is very helpful when circumstances do not allow studying as usual or face-to-face. Online classes are conducted using electronic devices as well as the internet, where this online class requires technological skills from both teachers and students. Teachers and students must understand the use of technology well so that online classes can run well. Some teachers who are not teach savvy feel that online classes are more complicated than face-to-face classes because they are usually carried out in the traditional way, and it is also possible to carry out face-to-face classes while still using technology in place. Both face-to-face and online classes offer benefits and drawbacks. Additionally, there are differences in the difficulties of online versus in face-to-face classes. Which type of learning is more efficient, face-to-face classes or online ones? Therefore, the purpose of this comparative research analysis is to learn how to overcome difficulties in both online and in-person classes and determine which is more efficient. Next slide. So the current education system has undergone quite drastic changes. This is due to the rapid development of technology. With the existence of technology, learning can be done remotely using electronic devices and the internet. In addition, face-to-face classes are also still running as using technology or without technology on an limited basis. There are advantages and disadvantages to both online and in-person learning. In order to identify how we might choose a more effective class based on the current scenario, the authors of this study will analyze the advantages and disadvantages of online and face-to-face classes. Some of the questions that will be answered in this comparative analysis are: the first is how to overcome the challenges of both class. The second is which one is more effective for English learning. Next. So the literature review. The first is the concept of online class. Internet-based education is referred to as online learning. E-learning is one of the names that is frequently used to describe it. Online education is simply one kind of distance tool. Additionally, interactive learning telecommunication systems are needed for online learning in order to link education and students as well as the different resources that are required for it. Because online learning explicitly refers to education that makes us of internet-based technology. In this case, in order to be able to teach students online, educators must possess technical knowledge in the field of technology. Additionally, students must be ready to learn how to use the technology used the individual their individual universities. The second is types of online class. There are two types. The first is asynchronous. Asynchronous online class don't take place in real time. Students complete their coursework and assignments more independently and on time. Their teacher and students communicate communicate using message boards, blogs, email, and other channels. The time class meetings is flexible, and students with busy schedules or time constraints might benefit from the flexibility and usefulness of asynchronous learning. The second is synchronous online classes. Synchronous online classes necessitate concurrent student and instructor online contact. In a virtual classroom, teachers train the students and facilitate communication between them using text message, audio chats, and video chats. Synchronous using environments and enable students to take a course from the home and participate in real-time activities. The third is the advantages and disadvantages online class. The advantages online class are travel time savings, exposure to new learning methods, and simple access to internet materials are benefits of online learning. Online learning has some advantages like spending a lot of time starting at screens, not having very much, not interacting, and having trouble understanding what is being taught. And then the next is the concept of face-to-face class. The teachers transmit knowledge to students in face-to-face teacher-centered teaching paradigm with little involvement from the students. by Harden and Cosby 2000. During teaching and learning activities, students and teachers, as well as the other students, can directly interact while using the face-to-face learning paradigm. In other words, there is absolutely no access to the internet for teachers, students, or kids who are interacting with other pupils. The next is the advantages and disadvantages face-to-face class. The advantage of face-to-face classes is that teaching and learning activities will feel more active because it is easier for teachers and students to interact directly with each other, and teachers will find it easier to access. While the disadvantages of face-to-face classes are the lack of students' independence and lack of flexibility. Next. So the method, this analysis uses a qualitative method by collecting several journals about online and face-to-face English classes which contain advantages and disadvantages as well as challenges, and then compare and analyze them so as to get results on how to overcome the challenges and which ones are more effective, and then interview. Next. Result and discussion. The first is to overcome challenges faced by online classrooms. Teachers, educators offer 17 key coping strategies, including tools for online teaching, planning, managing online classrooms, promoting teachers' well-being, helping students with their mental health, and improving students' access to use of technology. While in-person or face-to-face classes can be addressed by fostering effective communication and engagement in raising student motivation to learn. Next. The second is to increase the effectiveness of online classes. It is necessary to ensure that teachers and students understand the technology that will be used in learning. Classroom management by teachers and good communication. Meanwhile, face-to-face classes with clear instruction and direct interaction between teachers and students with students will both increase the effectiveness of the class. Next. The conclusion obtained from the results of a comparative analysis between online and face-to-face classes is that each has a different way of dealing with its challenges. In online classes, teachers need to plan online teaching, manage online classroom, and improve students' ability to access technology. Teachers must, however, increase their pupils' motivation and self-assurance in face-to-face classes. Both online and in-person seminars offers benefits and drawbacks. The teacher's management of the class and ability to work through obstacles will determine how effectively the class is established. So that's all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The next is Raina for the fourth speaker. Time is yours.
Udah di-record kan ya? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Raina Siti Zahra. I'm from class 6C. I will present my paper with title Error Analysis, Positive and Negative Language Transfer, Reflect in ESL Learners English Writing. Introduction. Because it is widely acknowledged that difficult process to EFL student is writing, it is unsurprising because a mistake or errors are hard to prevent aspect of their work. According to Richard, 1971, transfer happen when we have one language and we learning another language. So, language transfer will be experienced by ESL learners It's natural because the target language and the first language have similarities and contrast. Next slide. For the next slide is literature review. A, positive and negative transfer. According to Richards, 1971, transfer happen when we have one language and we're learning another language. So, language transfer will be experienced by ESL. ESL learners, it's natural because the target language and the first language have similarities and contrast. Besides positive transfer, there is negative transfer that make learners do error in their writing. B, interlingual and intralingual. Interlanguage cause and intralingual target language cause. According to Kawira, 2013, interlingual error has been identified as one of the most significant elements influencing deviant behavior caused by negative transference from the mother tongue use. Besides interlingual, intralingual also affecting problem of negative transfer. Next slide. C, overgeneralization and simplification. The use of forms into contexts that do not correspond to analogies is referred to the process of overgeneralization. According to Richards, 1971, for both learners of English as a second language, this was a normal or natural process, as well as children learning it as a first language and the use of grammar rules into contexts where they do not appear will always be understood by them indirectly. As in I put the book, we hide the book. Next slide. Research methodology. This research used descriptive qualitative as the method because this research describes the analyze data about the positive and negative transfer. Research instrument. This research will use the observation sheet instrument to gain the data. The observation sheet were made by the researcher itself. The context in the observation. Subject of the research. I choose the subject of this research is from 12th grade student of SMK 1 Rakas Bitung. Research triangulation, according to Sutopo 2006, explained that triangulation is the most commonly used way to increase the validity of data in qualitative research. Data collecting technique. Documentation and observation is used in this research, so this method is proposing about student language transfer in writing descriptive text of grammar, and there is two types of data of positive and negative language transfer. Data analysis technique. In this part, after collecting and analyzing the data, the research found some negative and positive transfer in the writing. The research analyzed the data based on the category overgeneralization and simplification. The result of the research analysis shown as follows. The next slide is research procedures. The research procedure is began by making an observation sheet, and after that, the research was give the observation sheet in a class, and they have 30 minutes to finish the assignment. After finish the assignment, the researcher collecting the observation sheet and start collecting and analyze the data. Next slide. Okay, thank you. That's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Raina. The next is the last presenter, Kita. Time is yours.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gita Nurmulia, and here I want to present my papers. The title is Teaching Strategies Using Games in Teaching English Full Vocabulary to Primary School. The first one is introduction. Learning English as a second language can be a difficult challenge, especially for primary school students. One of important aspects of mastering new language is vocabulary acquisition. As Hammer and 2001 believe, if a language structure makes up the skeleton of language, then it's her vocabulary that provides vital organs and the flesh. However, teaching vocabulary may be difficult every so often, as primary students may find it hard if it might difficult terms or become bored without difficulty. Therefore, instructors nowadays are encouraged to use really modern strategies and could decide whether on teaching college student while mastering um, in current years, using games as a teaching tool has required recognition in English language. Games can over loud and interactive manner can have effective consequence on student motivation. Many research has shown that using games in language learning can have effective consequence on student motivation, engagement, and language skill abilities. The next one is problem formulation. This study will address the problem is what the effect of using games in teaching English vocabulary to primary school. Based on the background and literature review discussed. The next one is literature review. Teaching English vocabulary to primary school students is a challenging task, and educators are always on the lookout for innovative teaching strategies that can make learning more engaging and fun for students. Using games in teaching English vocabulary has gained popularity among educators in recent years, as games can help to increase motivation, engagement, and retention of vocabulary. This literature review explores some recent research studies on the teaching strategies using games in teaching English vocabulary to primary school students. The first one is studied by Paulus Angelius and Stapoulou at 2019 examined the effectiveness of a digital game-based learning environment in teaching English vocabulary to Greek primary school students. The study found that the use of English games significantly improves student vocabulary knowledge and retention compared to traditional classroom instruction. The next one is similarity study by Kim and Kwon at 2017 examined the effect of game-based English vocabulary program on Korean primary school students. The study found that the use of game improves student motivation, engagement, and vocabulary acquisition. In English, the use game in teaching vocabulary to primary school students is promise teaching strategies that has been found to improve student motivation, engagement, and vocabulary acquisition. This finding suggests that educators should incorporate games into their teaching strategies to make learning more fun and engaging for the student. The next is research methodology. The first one is research method. These researchers use qualitative method with phenomenological design. The subject of this study came from primary school student in Cilegon City. 10 students involved research subject and were arbitrarily selected with low English vocabulary. The second one is type of researchers. These researchers use qualitative method. The qualitative data is based on the experience of 10 students before and after learning English vocabulary by using the games. The third is participants. The participants come from 10 students who are low English vocabulary at primary school. They were arbitrarily selected from a few different classes. The participants were between 9 and 10 years old, and all of them were beginner learners. And the last is instrument. This study used a communication approach. The data take place on pre and post teaching using games. Games used in the picture card containing English vocabulary. Each correct vocabulary was given one mark. The next chapter is finding and result. Based on the data, the researchers analyzed and the effect of using games in teaching English vocabularies. Researchers found several positive effects from this study. The first one is increased engagement and motivation. According to study by Hamdan Yusuf and MD at 2019, incorporating games in language teaching can significantly increase student motivation, making them more willing to participate in learning. Game can make the learning process more enjoyable and attractive, leading increased achievement and motivation among two primary school students. When students are actively and involved in the game, they become more interested in content and are more likely to participate actively in learning experience. This engagement can enhance their willing to learn and improve their retention of English vocabulary. This can be especially important for students who may be less interested in traditional language learners methods. A study conducted by Tafazoli and CDG at 2012 found that the use of games in teaching vocabulary to primary school students lead to increased motivation and more positive attitudes toward learning. The second is enhance retention and recall. Games can aid in retention and recall English vocabulary by incorporating games based on activities that require students to use practice vocabulary in a fun and effective way. A study conducted by Jim and Dalam and 2019 found that games have a positive effect on the student vocabulary retention and recall compared to traditional teaching methods. This approach can lead to improved retention and recall vocabulary words, as a student more likely to remember words they have encountered in fun and engaging manner. Games simulate multiple sense and incorporate different learning styles, which can enhance retention and recall English vocabulary by connecting new vocabulary with visual, auditory, and aesthetics elements. Games provide a holistic learning experience. This multi-sensory approach promotes better memory encoding, make it easier for students to recall and apply the vocabulary they have learned in various contexts. And the last is development of social interaction and cognitive skills. Games can promote social interaction and collaboration among primary school students, which can help to improve their English language skill by working together to solve game-based challenge. Students can practice communicating in English and develop their speaking and listening skill. A study by Abbas and Khan at 2019 found that using games in teaching English vocabulary to primary school students lead to increased social interaction and collaboration among students. Playing games together, primary school students can develop their social skills such as cooperation and problem solving while also reinforcing their cognitive abilities such as memory and attention. The last chapter is conclusion. The study results show that students who received game-based instruction had significantly higher scores on vocabulary tests compared to those who received traditional instruction. The use of games in teaching English vocabulary is consistent with current research on language learning, which emphasizes the importance of providing learners with opportunities for meaningful and authentic language use. Games can have provided context for using language in fun and engaging way, which can help to promote language and retention. However, it is important to note that not all games are all effective for language teaching. For language learning, teacher needs to carefully select and design games that are aligned with the learning goals and objective, and that provide opportunities for meaningful language use. Additionally, it is important to ensure that games are used in conjunction with other instruction strategies, such as explicit vocabulary instruction to ensure that students are receiving a well-rounded and comprehensive language learning experience. Okay, that's the last for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Gita. Alright, we're already in the end of the session today. So before we close, is there any question? Okay, if there is no question, thank you for the presenters who have presented the result of the research paper as well. So that's all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.